gorgeous there again. Excellent. Let's raise go again. It's gorgeous there. Turn the hips around towards here a little bit more. It's gorgeous there. And up towards the light a touch more. It's gorgeous. No, not as much, just the eyes at me. Excellent. And again, one more. Relax. Thanks, Vicky. Have a little rest. Hi, I'm Mark Lowen, and welcome to the Lastolite School of Photography. Today we're here to talk about how we fire flash. When you buy a lighting kit, they all come with one of these things, which is adequate. It does the job for you. It's designed to trigger from camera and fire the flash. However, it's one more thing that tethers us. And as a working photographer, a busy working photographer, I want to get away from the lighting so I can work quicker. I can perhaps put my camera down on the floor without having to worry, is it connected? I want to walk off and change lens perhaps. So getting untethered is really one of the first things as a pro or a semi-pro you want to be doing, because it's just going to allow you more flexibility in the way that you work either in studio or on location. So let's just first of all have a quick look at the kind of variety of products that Lastolite do to allow us to get untethered. So what we want to do is get away from this tethered cable. As I mentioned before, the only real reason is to allow us to get around the studio so we don't have to be connected into something, because that will control your creativity. The next step is going to, still one of the kind of cheapest radio triggers on the market today, which is a powered version. And this is classed as a receiver, and it's given its pulse by a transmitter. This basically, the transmitter first just fits on the camera hotshoe. And once that's there, that is going to fire the light in as soon as I trigger it, just by actually giving us the fire. This connects through to the power, and the reason this is a powered version, especially for the studio photographers, the great thing is you don't have to worry about the batteries running out or whatever. You know, as soon as you switch on the mains, this is going to do its job. So one goes, it's a kettle kind of style of lead, one goes into the studio head itself, the other power lead goes into it, that's obviously the main lighting lead, and then this goes into the sync position of the flash head, and this is one that's going to give it the fire. The kit comes with a kind of little accessories as well, depending on the kind of size of jack that you have. So that is one kit, and that is probably ideal for the studio photographer. Why? It's cost effective, it gets away from being tethered, and it allows you to work a little bit more creatively. If you want to go to the next version up, you're going to be looking at something like the Lastolite, it's still a radio trigger, I'm not sure if it's a new name or whatever, but it allows you not only to work through a studio flash jack, but it also allows you to work through a jack designed for a speed light. And once again, it's a cost-effective one, so we're looking at the kind of budget range of radio triggers, but a job that's going to be done, okay? Because you can spend a lot of money on radio triggers, and at the end of the day, depending on what you're trying to do with your flash, it's going to give you a different kind of control. For instance, these, they don't have a TTL ability. Why? Because the majority of professional photographers don't use the TTL facility when they're using off-camera flash. Instead, we're using these on manual mode so we can control the exact power that's going throughout. One of the benefits of having a speedlight transmitter and receiver as well is that it doesn't matter what kind of flash you're using, whether it's an old style of flash or a new style of flash, you can have an accessory to fire these. And even though I'm shooting with my Canon speedlights, I could have in the mix Nikon, Quantum, any kind of camera flash that I want to fire at the same time, because they're all being controlled by a transmitter instead of the technology from within the camera itself. The speedlight connection is pretty simple anyway. It just goes into the side on these 580X2s to the sync mount just here on the side. If you're using an older version, you might need to get a little accessory with a hotshoe adapter on that to be able to control that. And that's a simple way to be able to fire a studio flash and a speedlight flash as well. There's other alternatives, even though we're going back to a tethered kind of use, which is a TTL version by Lastolite. But as you can see, the one part goes onto the flash, the other part goes onto the camera. Then the TTL functions are once again kept together. However, this has a 3-meter length, and that's all we're allowed to move away from the flash itself. So we are going to be restricted in creativity, but that is the first use in a kind of a cost-effective way to get off-camera flash going. So let's connect these back up in the way that I use them in studio. We're going to go to the powered radio trigger and see how we use those each day. So to get going, all I need to do to transfer it from a tethered use to using the radio trigger. First of all, just switch off the power for a minute and just plug in our kettle lead into the receiver. Plug that back into the flash itself. Then the most important part, of course, is that sync cable going into the sync socket, switching on the power, and then instantly we're ready to fire the unit. So with that radio trigger in place, I'm now ready to shoot in studio, completely untethered. Okay, so let's get on with the shoot. Vicky, if I borrow your police again, darling. Just going to come more or less to here again for me if you can. And the benefit, remember that this is the transmitter now. This is what's going to send the signal off to the flash. That receiver up there is going to receive the signal and hence fire off the flash. It's gorgeous there. Lean the head just onto this side a little bit more for me. It's gorgeous. Turn the body around towards that direction a touch more and turn the head back to me as much as you can. Keep it. If you keep looking there for me, please, Vicky. It's gorgeous. And again. Gorgeous there. Let's do it. Lower the chin a little bit more for me. Serious for me. One more. Look off towards the boys again. It's gorgeous there. Excellent. Thanks, Vicky. How easy is that? The main thing is working untethered in studio. My studio is quite small, but it allows me different sets, and I can just move around here because I don't have to worry about where I place my camera down as I move a light, as I switch one on and off. It's those little things that help you just become that little bit more of a creative photographer in studio as much else. It allows you that bit of freedom. So we've used the powered version here, because remember, these two little things, the transmitter and the receiver, will allow you to work just off camera flash. Now we've been using the powered version in here, which means it going through the mains. Let's now use a battery powered one so we can fire the likes of a speed light on location. But remember, those same battery powered ones we're going to be using outside can be used in here in studio as well. So if you want to buy the one version, you can go ahead with that. So the setup's going to be a single tilt head bracket, and the speed light just slots straight onto the top of the hotshoe mount on here. And then we've got the radio trigger receiver. I basically just hang it around using the loop cord, and then this just connects in the cable into the speed light sync port there. And once we switch it on, shown by the green light, we're ready to rock and roll. Gorgeous there, let's do it. Keep it, again, and again for me. Keep it. Looking at me, please. Excellence there. Relax. So you can see how we've used this combination of lights using those the radio triggers to allow me to work off camera, to make sure that we're giving some three-dimensional effect to an image. It's pretty easy to do. This isn't Einstein stuff at all, I promise you. But the main thing is to be able to get it off camera. So we've set up another setup now, just with two speed lights. The reason being is that I'm using one, which is the red light, just to give us that kind of three-dimensional pull. And then we've still got Stuart now, without the EasyBox hotshoe on the flash. He's got it on the pole still. He's given a concentrated amount of light just into the face. Okay, keep it as you are, darling. That's lovely. Let me just check that flash. Fantastic.